Good morning, 8th graders. Today we're taking a look at Module 4, Lesson 4, Solving Linear Equations. And this is my ultimate favorite thing to do in math ever. So you are going to love it. Your target goals are that you'll be able to extend the use of properties of equality to solve linear equations having rational coefficients. So much fun. All right, there are 4 properties of equality that allow us to transform an equation into the form we want. So if star plus b and c are all rational numbers, then here are the 4 different things. If star is b, then star plus c is the same thing as b plus c. If star minus c is the same thing as b minus c. Star times c would be the same thing as b times c. And then a divided by c would be the same thing as b divided by c, as long as c is not 0. All right, for each problem, show work and check your solution. State the property that justifies your first step. So the properties that we're using is just saying that if we add something to one side, we add it to the other. If we subtract it from one side, we subtract it from the other, and so on. So let's go ahead and take a look. Here we have this problem. First thing we want to do, it says we have to tell them why we're doing that first step. So let's take a look. What do we want to do first? I agree. Let's go ahead and put these x's together. Because they're on that same side of the equal sign. Now remember, this equal sign never gets to move. Never ever. So let's go ahead and put these together. So we have 1x plus 1 more x plus 1 more x plus 1 more x. So together we have 4 x's. Then let's go ahead and put our numbers together. We have a positive 2, a positive 4, and a positive 6. So altogether, that is a positive 12. On the right side of the equal sign, we still have our negative 28. Now, before I forget, let's go back and do what was that first step that we did? What is that called when we put things together? We can just simply say we combined our x's. And what property would that be that we just put them together? We arranged them kind of in a different way. So we could probably just say it was the commutative property. All right, so let's go back up here and let's get it by ourselves. Now remember, our goal is to always get the variable by itself. So we want to use that last. So what we want to get rid of is this plus 12. Well, how do we get rid of a positive 12 or a plus 12? We do the inverse, the opposite of it. So we're going to subtract 12. Now, since we subtracted 12, we don't subtract it from the 4x. We have to go to the other side of that equal sign and subtract it over there on the right. So over here, we have a negative 28 and a negative 12. Remember that a minus 12 is the same thing as plus a negative 12. So we need to combine those. We're going to have a negative 40. Equal sign is still there. Positive 12 and negative 12 cancel, and all we have is a 4x. What's happening right now between that 4 and the x? Anytime those two things are next to each other. Right, it's being multiplied, right? So we need to do the inverse. What's the inverse of multiplying by 4? Dividing by 4. Since we divided the left side by 4, we have to divide the right side by 4. I don't know why I just put a negative. There we go. And so our x is still on the left, equal sign still in the middle, and negative 40 divided by 4. A negative divided by a positive is still negative, and 40 divided by 4 is 10. So answer is x is negative 10. Now, it also says that we have to check our solution. So we need to fill this number back into our equation in order to solve. Okay, so let's go ahead, let me extend that a little bit, and I'm going to rewrite our problem. Let me switch colors. So we're going to have x plus 2 plus x plus 4 plus x plus 6 equals negative 28. So as I go to fill in, I'm going to have a negative 10 plus a negative 10 plus 2 plus a negative 10 plus 4 plus a negative 10, 3, 4, plus 6 equals negative 28. Now I can go back and let's put all of our negatives together. Negative 10, negative 10, negative 10, and negative 10. So I have negative 40. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. So plus 12 equals negative 28. And negative 40 and positive 12 is negative 28. So since negative 28 equals negative 28, yes, it was our correct solution. Next problem. Same thing that we have to do. What do you notice that we're going to have to do first here? Yeah, the parenthesis, right? But can we put 3x with our 2? No, we can't, right? But we can distribute. Do you see that? So our first thing that we're going to do is we're going to distribute. Okay, that's the first thing. So it's the distributive property. And it's because of parentheses that we're going to have to do that first. So 2 times 3x is 6x. And 2 times 2 is positive 4. On the right side, I notice that we have our variable in 2 locations. So remember those signs in front of it. 2x plus x is now 3x. And then we just have our minus 1. Now, we need to get our x's to that same side. We always look for that smaller coefficient in front of our variable. So in this case, our 3x is smaller. Right now it's a positive, so we have to do the inverse. So we're going to subtract 3x from the right side, go to the other side of the equal sign, and subtract 3x. When we do that, 6x's minus 3x's is still 3x. We still have our plus 4. Equal sign is still there. And then our positive 3 and negative 3x cancel, and it just leaves me a negative 1. Reminding that our goal is to get the variable by itself, so we need to get rid of that positive 4. So instead of plus 4, we're going to do minus 4 from both sides of that equal sign. Always make sure that you go to the other side of the equal sign. Our plus 4 and minus 4 cancel, leaves us the 3x. Same thing at equal sign, a negative 1 and another negative 4 is negative 5. What's happening between the 3 and the x currently? Yep, right next to each other, so we're going to have to divide because it's being multiplied. Divide the left side by 3, we divide the right side by 3. So our answer then would be x equals negative 5/3. Mixed number-wise, we could have said it's negative 1 2/3. Okay? However, to go and fill it in to check, it's going to be easier to leave it like it is. All right, let me grab another pen and let's check. All right, ready? I'm going to write 2 times my 3 times my negative 5/3 plus 2 And then on the other side, 2 times my negative 5/3 minus 1 plus my negative 5/3. First thing I need to do, work on the inside of my parentheses, closest as I can to the inside. So I need to do 3/1 times negative 5/3. Well, what happens to my 3's? Great job seeing that. We have to cancel those. And so when I do that, all I'm left with is this negative 5. So now I have 2 times negative 5 plus 2 equals, and then what can I do over here? Yeah, I can. Let's go ahead and multiply across and get negative 10 over 3 minus 1 plus that negative 5/3 again. Then I'm going to go ahead and combine in my parentheses. A negative 5 and a positive 2 is negative 3. And 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Still have my equal sign. Now I'm going to put my negative 10/3 and negative 5/3 together, which gives me negative 15/3. And then I have a minus 1. At that point, I still have my negative 6. 3 goes into 15 how many times? Good, 5. So it's a negative 5 because there's one negative sign, minus 1. And a negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. So negative 6 equals negative 6, which proves that yes, it was my solution. Next one. All right, notice our variable is on two sides. Okay, now currently the one on the right is being multiplied by 3/5. So in order for me to get this, to get rid of this, I need to get rid of this fraction first. Okay, so I need to get rid of that 3/5. So let me unhighlight that. So I'm going to see how this is being multiplied. Let's divide this side by 3/5. Now, do I want to write that 3/5 x divided by 3/5? It looks pretty messy there. Do you guys agree? One way we could change that is instead of, remember how dividing a fraction, we remember to divide a fraction, here's the tip, keep, change, flip. So instead, let's multiply this by the reciprocal because we're going to flip it. And when we do that, our 5's cancel, our 3's cancel, leaving us just an x on this side. Since we multiplied the right side by 5/3, we have to multiply the left side by 5/3. But we have to multiply the whole side. Looking better though, right? Let's go ahead and distribute. 5/3 times x is 5/3 x. And 5/3 times negative 9, our 3 would cancel with the 9. So I have a 5 times a negative 3, which is negative 15, equals x. And let's go ahead and get rid of our 5/3 x. Right now it's positive. So let's subtract 5/3 x from this side and subtract 5/3 x from the right side. That leaves me just a negative 15. And then this is a 1x. In order to get that common denominator of 3, I'm going to rewrite. I'm going to make this a 3. It was a 1, so I have to multiply the top number by 3. So now we have 3x minus 5x negative 2x over 3. Multiply by both sides by 3. So now I have negative 2x equals negative 45. And divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. So x equals positive 22.5 or 22.5. Let's go ahead and go to the last one. The very last one, we can see that we have a negative 3x on the left and a positive 5x on the right. Remember that we want to move the smallest one, so we want to add 3x to both sides. When we do that, we now have 29 on the left, just our equal sign, 8x plus 5. Remembering that our goal is to get the x by itself, let's get rid of that 5. Right now we're adding it, so we need to do the inverse, subtract 5 from both sides. So now we have 24 equals 8x. How do I get my x by itself? Right now it's being multiplied, so we divide. Dividing both sides by 8, x equals 3. In order to fill in and check, 29 minus 3 times 3 equals 5 times 3 plus 5. So we now have 29. Negative 3 times positive 3 is a negative 9. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 5. 29 minus 9 is 20, and 15 plus 5 is 20. So yes, that was our correct answer. And we're done. Now you know why it's my favorite, right?